Should be on YouTube. Thank you for that. You're right. I wasn't on YouTube. I should be on YouTube momentarily. Nikki writes, "What did he allegedly steal? No one has said because it's a lie. He didn't steal anything. He didn't steal anything. The owner, you speaking about Ahmaud Arbery, that brother, the only thing that happened to that brother is that he had the temerity to jog through a certain neighborhood. He wasn't doing nothing wrong. Like I said, I just did it. I live in Clifton, so sometimes I'll walk down Sycamore. I'll walk down Sycamore and walk to Ziegler Park, and then walk back up Sycamore and walk to my home, right? It's a good long walk. So over an hour. It's a good long walk. But there is some new constructions as you're going down Sycamore. I just did this. And I was just curious. I just walked in there. I didn't walk all through it, but I was definitely on the property. I was just curious about the construction. That was it. It wouldn't matter if there's a big bag or whatever in there. That's somebody else's. You know what I'm saying? But there wasn't. It was just like 2x4s and, that's it. That's it, basically. Some plastic covering. Nice little spot. I'm like, damn. There's some people living good in Cincinnati, man. Whew. Great views of the city and everything. And everything. So he didn't do anything. He didn't steal anything. The owner of the property never reported anything ever being stolen. And there's no video of him stealing anything. You have people like Candace Owens who are just making a bad situation worse by saying things like, well, there's video of him walking through the site. So what? So what? Kathy writes, good morning, all. Good morning to you, Kathy. Nikki writes, gotta nip that in the bud. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see you. Before we get too deep into the show, I want to make sure we get a word in from today's sponsor, our friends over at Renew Community Church. Now, they do live stream series. They do it every Sunday starting at 11:45 a.m., led by Charlie Wimburn. This week's topic, how to keep from losing your mind. You can tap in and learn how to focus and be happy. Again, this Sunday at 11:45 a.m., you can tap in on Facebook at Cincy Renew, CINCI. You can tap in on YouTube at Renew Community Church live stream. Check it out for yourself. Good morning to you. Marisha writes, good morning. Lynn writes, good morning, great people. She writes, yeah, I was a fan of Young Dolph. Really? What were some of his songs? I'll look it up. I must confess I wasn't. Young Dolph. Unless that was the dude. Hold on a second. Let me see here. The Memphis police chief tells citizens to stay home after the death of young Dolph. I'm looking at his wiki right now. Not sure how old he was. Not sure he was born in 1985. So somebody do the math for us real quick. I can't do it. My brain, I think he was roughly around 35, 36 years old. I think I'm right. 36 years old. Damn, that's super young, man. That's super young. Over what? I don't know. Could it be jealousy? Could be jealousy. Could be a woman. Because men out here doing the most with women. They're doing the most over a woman. And I get it. On some levels, I get it. But on some levels, it just can never be that way. You're going to give it the rest of your life because a woman chose to be with another man. And now you can't even be with her with any other woman because you locked up with a whole bunch of dudes for the rest of your life over her decision. Nah, ain't that serious. Ron writes, good morning, Chop Shop. Nikki writes, that is crazy, Nate. Marsha writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Marisha writes, yeah, I went to the concert. Jeff Ross noticed me, and I talked to Jay Chappelle's wife. Is that right? Yeah, nice. Lynn writes, my condolences, Nate. My prayers are with you. Oh, over Chairman Mom, thank you so much. Charles writes, good morning. The other Charles writes, a QAnon mascot got 41 months, huh? There goes that special diet, right? You can get that special diet. What is he, vegan or something like that? I think it was. His mom was appealing to the judge. It's funny how they so super tough until the law squarely looks them in the face and judges them on their actions. Now it's a whole bunch of dumb stuff. It is what it is. They're making an example of the Viking. His next gig is that Viking costume should be at the theater, not on Capitol grounds. Gladys writes that the leaves are slippery when wet. When wet, be careful, choppers. Almost had a fall this morning. Oh man. Glad you're okay, Gladys. Be careful out there. Charles Wright's Rittenhouse is going to get off. It has already been offered internship by Rep. Matt Gaetz. Oh my God, what a disgusting human being Matt Gaetz is. Kamika writes, the GOP is out of control. This does not surprise me. After all, but two voted not to censor Gosar. Brandy writes, greetings. People saying 36, 36. Okay, I'm just seeing this now. Appreciate that. Brent writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers, checking in from Dallas, Texas. Good morning to you. Hold on, let me check. Who's going to get a call here? Double check my messages just to make sure. Let me see. What is this? What is all this? Why are all these people in here? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. People just be starting these Facebook groups and just be asking people, and then the next thing you know, everybody's leaving. Oh, okay. Oh man, that's great, man. That's great. That's great. I just got a message from Ron Hummons, and apparently some people were watching the show were able to reach out and contact him. So again, it's all about spreading love and great examples and pushing the culture forward. So I'm glad that that connection was able to be made. I'm not sure who was watching on California, but whoever it is, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Absolutely. Apparently, we got Drop isn't the only person from California that's watching the show. Getting up early in the morning. I appreciate you. Charles writes, right, Nate, the leader of the Proud Boys is trying to sue the prison over the condition inmates have to live in only after he started serving his sentence. Right. Dwight's in the house. Good morning, Dwight. Writes, 41 months for the Capitol rioters is not enough. They should get the 10 years Donald Trump promised anyone who destroyed or defamed government property. I agree with you. But if that's the fullest extent of the law, then that, again, I don't know the sentencing guidelines, but if that's what the full extent of the law is, then that's what it is. But I agree with you. I think what they tried to do on January 6th was treason. And if they would have gotten their hands on Nancy Pelosi or other Democrat lawmakers like AOC, then I think that there would have been some violence. It could have been some fatalities, no doubt about it. That was a violent, angry mob. It was a part of America that America likes to hide. We don't like to. America doesn't like to show that part of American history too much. Angry white mob. Let's call it what it is. And they were provoked by the former president for his own benefit. I just read there's a white female, I forget her name, and she has just written a book about her experiences in the White House. And so she commented within the last couple of weeks, really it was last week, and she commented about what she believed that Donald Trump knew about the insurrection. And her focus was what Donald Trump knew about the election results. And she said that when the election results came in, he knew that he lost. Donald Trump knew that he lost, right? It's funny. You got people like Drop. They want to focus on Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and they want to focus on everything, but they want to forget all the lies, all the illegal stuff that the dude that they've supported did, like lying about who won the election. And then, and this is where I get on black conservatives about this because they never want to talk about this. Trump told the big lie about the election, and then other Republicans ran with it to try to put these new laws in place to preserve the election, right? But in effect, in many cases, when you look at it, and smart people have and reported on it, what you'll find is that they're targeting, in a lot of cases, black voters. But these same black Republicans don't say a damn thing about that. They don't want to talk about the voter suppression being committed against their people by their party. They don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about Kamala Harris's poll numbers. You get half a dozen lawmakers out of 200 that support something that the Democrats are pushing. And these black Republicans are calling and say, well, they couldn't do without Republican support. It's like, huh? It's like, bro, you're backwards. You're asking the wrong question. They should have put all these people under the jail. You know what I'm saying? What did Trump say? Hey, and don't be too soft when you're putting there when you're arresting them. You know, you bang your head against the side. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. That's what they should have did to send a message. These people were connected to some of the conspiracies in Michigan, where they were conspiring to kidnap uh, the sitting governor of Michigan. They were going to kidnap this woman and put her on trial. That's what they were going to do. That was their plan was to kidnap this woman, right? Because she said she put some things in place as it relates to COVID. They wanted to kidnap her, probably torture her, but kidnap her and then put her on trial for crimes against the United States. That's what these mofos was doing. They want to do the same thing with the governor of Ohio. But meanwhile, you got the FBI is running around here messing with rappers, messing with NBA YoungBoy because he giving him weapons charges. I mean, it's the system is just whacked up. It's just crazy, man. It makes no sense. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, in this case, when it comes to the QAnon shaman, he's getting about a year less, maybe a year and a half left than what the federal prosecutors recommended. I guess the judge is being sympathetic for whatever reason. I guess it's his first offense. But hell, I mean, if your first offense is something of this nature, you get what you get. I say make an example out of all of them. That's what I say. Hey, good morning to you, David. Because that's the real danger. I'm worried about these good old boys running around here talking about Q and Donald Trump and the election was stolen. That's who I'm worried about. That's who the real threat, the menace to society, the Timothy McVeigh types, blowing up federal buildings, killing abortion doctors. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm worried about. All under the banner of my country, tis of thee, and Second Amendment rights and freedom of press. I mean, freedom of speech. It's a bunch of BS. That's what a real problem is in our that's the real domestic threat. I ain't worried about marijuana. I'm not worried about drugs. Speaking of which, anybody watching Narcos on Netflix? They got two of them. They got Narcos and then Narcos Mexico. Good TV watching. Good TV watching. If you like that kind of stuff, you'll enjoy it. Something for you to binge on. The public offer of an internship is undeniably reflective of Matt Gaetz wanting to be clear what he is. Oh, yeah, he does. He wants to change the conversation from some of his sexual picadillos, some of his little skeletons in his closet. That's a strange man right there. But listen, when you get elected to be a congressman like that, and now you're one of a body of 400, it's probably there's a yin and a yang to it. So now you're one of four in a nation of millions, but you're also one of 400, or you're a member of 400 in a nation of millions, but you're also now one of 400, right? So you got a fighting claw to get national attention, and you'll do anything to get reelected every 2 years. So it's a constant cycle of BS with some of these people, and Matt Gaetz is one of them. Lynn writes, the law is extended when life is lost. People were killed and injured. How many people are in jail for years just by association? Somebody writes, the FBI finally admitted the men in prison for Malcolm X murder didn't do it. Is that right? I did see that. Is that what that was? Huh. Of course, Malcolm X was killed at the Audubon Ballroom back in 1965 on February 21st. I am reading that now. Yeah, two men convicted in the killing of Malcolm X expected to be exonerated. After more than a half century, two men are set to be cleared in the assassination of Malcolm X. I'm reading directly from a news source. Let me see. So there were three men, Muhammad Aziz, Khalil Islam, and a man later known as Thomas Hagen, were convicted of murder a year after the death of Malcolm X and sentenced to life in prison. Hagen said that he was one of the three gunmen who shot Malcolm X, but he testified that neither Muhammad Aziz or Khalil Islam were involved. What? Hagen was paroled back in 2010. Aziz was released in 1985 and is now 83 years old. Islam was released in 1987. And Khalil Islam professed his innocence before he died in 2009. But now the Manhattan DA says that the two men who have always maintained their innocence will be exonerated because it looks like they're using new evidence. Ain't that a damn shame? So a tragedy on top of tragedy on top of tragedy. Not only did Malcolm X, not only was he taken from us, taken from his family, a family man, a father, daughters, a husband, wife, a community, a nation. But you got these two other brothers, man, that lose their liberty as well. And it appears they had nothing to do with it. Ah, my country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, right? About a bag of bullshit you ever heard in my life. What? What's that like? Being in prison for the killing of Malcolm X, but you didn't really do it. I bet that was rough. Bet that was a rough way to go right there. Damn. Mm-mm-mm. Man, that's sad for them, man. Your rights, that's a long stretch to do and not have committed the crime. Any time would be, but especially you in jail for killing Malcolm X. Everybody in the world think that you killed Malcolm X. I'll say it again. That's got to be a tough road right there. If you want to share your thoughts this morning, you can do so very easily by giving us a call at 513-873-7134. Um, see here. Hold on one second. All right, there it is. Appreciate you in advance. Okay, had to connect with a potential guest. We were supposed to talk at 8, and I'm not sure. I sent her the link. So, Miss Ebony J, if you're out there, then come on in, sis. Now, I got Brother Nadir coming in at 9, so maybe we push it back to 8 to 9:30 at this point. Maybe we do that. Last night on Rachel Maddow's show, she did a really good story about the assassination of Malcolm X. Did she? Rachel Maddow's still doing her thing. I don't have network, I don't have cable anymore. So I either catch her on YouTube or I just I just might be flipping channels. I got that Fire Stick joint now, so it is what it is. But she was always does a great show, man. I remember back when she was on Air America. Remember that? Way, 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 way back. I mean, times have changed so much, but way, 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 way back. This predates TYT as well. Um, a bunch of progressive got together and he put together a network called Air America. And it was supposed to be a response to the media domination by conservative voices. Right. For years and years and years before the explosion of the internet and all these different avenues, terrestrial radio was dominated by conservative white men. That's what you were going to find. If typically it was a talk station, it was going to be conservative white men. Very rarely would it be like progressive or Democrat types. And even more rare than that would it be black folks. So she was on a network called Air America. And, she was doing the same kind of stuff she's doing now. Angela writes, the government killed Malcolm. He was too powerful for a black man. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that. You know what I'm saying? But the minister, Louis Farrakhan, He's already admitted to his share of blame of setting the atmosphere that may have fostered and sparked the violence that people committed against him. Knowing my country, tis of thee, though, sweet lamb of liberty, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it one bit, Angela, if the government had a direct hand or a very, very strong indirect hand in what happened at all. Even if it was kind of like they knew that there was a plot to get him and they just sat back and let it happen. I think that would be a certain level of uh, being complicit on some levels as well. I wouldn't doubt it at all. Not even a little bit. Let me see. Glenn writes, I was an Air American fan. I remember those days. Okay. Yeah, I know Glenn goes, he goes deep as I do, if not deeper, in terms of being a fan of talk radio. And I think that they had an outlet here in Cincinnati. That's how I knew about them, right? And it just didn't work out for whatever reason. There's just some differences between conservative media and progressive media. There's definitely some differences in that. Let me see. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Let me jump inside the chop shop. Ray writes, good risings all. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Happy Friday Eve. Sister V writes, greetings all. Sharp writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. YouTube stream is not pulling up. Hold on. It should be up now. Yeah, we should be Gucci now. That was on me. I don't take too much better than Kevin Hart. Not funny. It don't take much to be better than Kevin Hart. Really? It don't take much to be better than Kevin Hart? Huh. This country is the epitome of diabolical. Oh, boy. Is it? Is it? Have you seen, I'm not going to play it for you because it's just too violent and I don't want to promote the violence against women. You don't really need to see this for me to give you my point, but there's a video of an ex-NFL player named Zach Stacy, and he is brutally attacking the mother of his child. It is a most heart-wrenching thing to ever watch. And I wish you ever watch something and then wish that you could unwatch it. I wish I could unwatch it. I'm not going to play it on the show here, but I'll tell you about it. And this brother must be suffering from CTE or something, because the way he's dealing with this woman, there's a child screaming in the background. It's like he's dealing with a grown-ass man. I'm like, what the hell could she have possibly said, dude? There's some dudes out here that is completely off the rails. They are completely not with it at all. At all. Man, have you seen that? That's as far as I want to get to it, but it's crazy. It is crazy. Again, I will not play it for you, but you can find it. Go to World Star or any kind of video, or let's look for it. Just search for what's his name, Zach Stacy. I didn't even know he was a player in the NBA and the NFL. Nuts. Good morning to you. I see that the devil is in here working hard today. Is he? Is he? Oh my God! Get that devil out of here. Get that devil out of here. If you're just tuning in this morning, I want to set the table for you. I did get a chance to see the Dave Chappelle documentary. It was fun. It was a good time. It was overall entertaining. The wife and I went together and we got a chance to act like we were grown folks. And we're not grown folks. We might look grown, but I'm not really grown. I am a parent, not an adult. Okay. Am I grown? Yes, but but I'm not an adult. When you have children, especially young children, you give up certain things. So you're more a parent than an adult. And so last night we got a chance to act like adults, right? We was out late during the weekday. We both got to work in the morning, but we did it anyway. And we had a good time. It was a good time. Overall, it was a good time. And the highlight of the night for me, I think, for the wifey is going to be Bone Thugs and Harmony. They performed. That was all the hits. That was good. It was definitely a highlight. It was good. It was a good time though. People were excited. There's a lot of electricity in the crowd. And they had these, you had to show your vaccination card. So sorry if you're an anti-vaxxer, unless you got a fake card, they weren't letting you in. And all they do is look at the card. I'm not sure, is there like a seal of approval or something like that? I'm like, man, you can just make my own card. And they weren't allowing you to go in with your phone. You had to put your phone in certain pouches. And then they released the locking mechanism after the show. That way, you won't pre-record it and put it on the internet and then like, because they're probably gonna make a Netflix special out of this, right? But it was dope. It was dope. OHIO, Dave Chappelle kept saying over and over again. He was giving a lot of that Ohio love. Whole lot. We need more Ohio love. That man right there you see in the middle, he looks like a clean cut, like he could be a Sunday school teacher. He's an accountant. He's a lawyer. He could be all those things. But what he really is a murdering racist bastard. His name is Travis McMichael. He and his father, and along with another man, they ran down and shot Ahmaud Arbery. What was his brother doing? Jogging through the neighborhood. What was his crime? The suspicion that he walked through a construction site, like they're building up a home. They may have the wooden frame and some plastic or something like that up, or maybe one wall or two walls or a partial roof or something like that. It depends on the stage of where they are in the construction. But you get the picture, right? You've seen it before. You may have walked through those sites before because you're just curious. You're just a curious ass mofo. And you went over there and you walked through them people's house. You didn't steal anything. You didn't touch anything. You didn't damage anything. You just wanted to see what the construction looked like. Also, the man known as the QAnon Shaman has been sentenced to more time than anybody else who's been sentenced to time related to the January 6th insurrection. But he still didn't get as much time as the federal prosecutors wanted him to get. And it's the same dude that was moaning and complaining that he didn't have his special diet. I think he's a plant-based diet eater. And so they put him in prison and they was serving him food that he didn't want to eat. And his mommy was getting at the neck of the courts, trying to get him a special diet. And guess what? It worked. He got a plant-based diet behind bars. Must be nice. Again, I'm sure they do that for anybody. They do it for anybody. Look at him. He seems like a good guy. He testified, going back to Travis McMichael, he testified that yesterday he took the stand on his own defense, which a lot of people said is unprecedented, or not unprecedented. That's the wrong word. A lot of the legal people that I watch who were talking about this, they said it was a risky move. Risky move means he must be desperate. So he testified and he said that the reason why he brandished a weapon to Ahmaud Arbery was to de-escalate the situation. So we're going to escalate to de-escalate. Yep, confrontation is the new de-escalation. That's what it is. Now you know the rules. Shannon writes, not being able to unsee is the problem with many of these videos. You don't need some stuff lingering around in your subconscious. Good morning to you, Shannon. Good to see you. Ron P. writes, sad what happened to young Dolph. We as black men are in a state of emergency. I'm with that. I don't know what happened. We can already tell it's going to be one or two or three things, right? Or multiple things. Jealousy, envy, greed, ego. We just talked about this early in the week. What's led to more people losing their lives throughout the annals of human history? Is it greed? Is it jealousy? Is it ego? Young Dolph, was he messing with somebody's girlfriend or something like that? I don't know. Shannon writes, you could have shown negative test results also. Okay. Akeem writes, I heard the field goal kicker from UC back ran into you and wifey at Dave Chappelle show. Is that right? The UC field goal kicker from UC back in the day ran into you and wifey at Dave Chappelle show. I don't remember that. If we did, okay. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Yeah, the Crossroads. They did the Crossroads. It was dope. They ended with that. Trey writes, he should have gotten more time. Absolutely. Deshauna writes, I just watched that video of Zach dude on some BS. You see that? Dude on some BS. Man, what the hell? He need his ass whooped for that. And you're doing this in front of dude. Clearly, he's got some anger issues. He got some early CTE. He got something. He got something going on. Terrible, man. Anthony writes, they do it for people of the Muslim faith too. Yeah, I'm sure they do. Ronald writes, Rittenhouse can take a rifle somewhere he doesn't live, but brothers can't walk in certain places unarmed without being killed. Ish has to change. Right. You're right. But, I think that we can't be outraged by the claims or the case that the defense makes. Their job is to get their client off through whatever means. It don't matter the circumstances, or should I say, in spite of the circumstances. Their job is to try to get the best deal for the client. So, whatever arguments they have to make, if they think they'll work with a jury and or a judge, that's what they're going to do. That's it. Kevin writes, I saw the people go over to the Red Stadium to get a test done, and someone in front of me showed their negative test results. Y'all know I'm vaxxed, so I ain't had no problems. Ron P writes, OHIO. Brent writes, the QAnon shaman is going to get plenty of meat in the federal penitentiary. Tracy writes, you shouldn't be able to say that you're in fear for your life if you agitate a situation or instigate the situation, then turn around and shoot once you're starting to get your ass whooped. Hashtag Ahmaud, hashtag Trayvon. I'm with you 1,000%. I'm with you 1,000% on that. 1,000%. Shannon writes, greed. That greed is a monster, isn't it? You think somebody's trying to rob him? I could see it. He's young Dolph. The perception is he might have a couple thousand in his pockets. He might have something on him or a chain or something you could take off of him. Maybe it was. Did they rob him? I don't know. Susan writes, I still say ego is the root of both jealousy and greed. You may be right about that. I still say you're right about that. Or you may be right about it. Dolph supposedly has a beef with Yo Gotti for a while. Police posted up at Gotti's business afterward in anticipation of retaliation. Really? I like Yo Gotti. Constitutional carry is coming, fam. Also, some teachers in schools being able to carry with limited training. A teacher with a gun is one of the scariest things in the world. I'm telling you, I've had some run in. I keep saying about this. Nobody really cares. Nobody really cares until it's their child. Then you care a lot in most cases. But there are some CPS. There are some CPS teachers that I would trust in my life, per my own experiences when I was in youth development. Salty earth people, solid. And there are some teachers that I wouldn't trust with a water gun. They just are emotionally not there. They're just not there. And then that's a real stressful job too. It's a very stressful job. It takes a very strong person to be a teacher. It takes a very strong mental to be a teacher. And we got some CPS teachers. They might mean well, but they need a lot of help. They need a lot of help. I was just having a conversation with somebody, and this person was giving me some insights into some things that are happening among CPS. Man, it's heartbreaking. As a black man, having my black children in CPS is terrifying on some levels. It would be terrifying no matter where, but it's just terrifying. It's absolutely the scariest thing ever. So now some of these individuals having a gun on them, not a good thing. Not a good thing. I don't think so. No. Mm-mm. But I am aware that the Ohio, that they recently passed open carry in Ohio. Yes. So basically, they don't want people. There's a strong, strong, strong sentiment that Ohio, if you want to conceal and carry, that you shouldn't have to get a permit. Like currently, if you don't have some kind of reason as to why you can't have a weapon, you can have a weapon in your home. You don't need anybody to tell anybody anything. Currently in Ohio, you could take a weapon and have a holster and put it on your hip. About 4 or 5 months ago, I was walking past this black dude. He was walking the energy was off. I'm like, what's up with this dude's energy? He just seemed to be, I don't know. He didn't seem to be, it seemed like he was distracted. Something was going on. As I walked past this black man, what I noticed is he had a holster firearm. He had a firearm in his on a holster on his hip. And it was out. He was just walking around. And I think he was nervous about it. Either he had some work to do or he was nervous about the fact that he was a black man with a shoulder, well, not shoulder, with a holster. And I could understand it. But you can do that legally. But what you can't do legally in Ohio is like put it in your waistband or tuck it into your shirt or something like that. To do that, you got to have a permit. And there was two major gun bills that won approval in the Ohio House. This just happened yesterday. One bill will allow teachers with 20 hours of training to carry firearms on K through 12 campuses. 20 hours worth of training, you can knock. That's not enough. That's not enough. It passed with a 58-33 vote. That's House Bill 99. And then you've got House Bill 227, which would allow Ohio adults to carry concealed firearms without taking a currently required class. This passed 60-32. It had even more support. Now, in Ohio currently, and I remember this before because we talked about this. If I'm wrong about this, somebody set me straight. But Ohio, like other states, allows school districts to decide whether staff can carry firearms. But the law, as it is right now, says that if you're a teacher, bus driver, custodian, that you have to complete peace officer training, which is 728 hours. That's a big difference. 20 hours of training or 728 hours of training. So my question for you, the Chop Shop, is that reasonable? In today's climate, if we're having a conversation about arming teachers, right now you got to get peace officer training. That totals up to 728 hours. That's a long time. You got to be really committed. And I would have to say that after you do 728 hours, you're doing peace officer training, you should have a whole different perspective on how to carry a weapon, how to deal with a weapon. I would think that you would be far more proficient than if you're just doing 28 hours. What's the rush? Why are they trying to rush guns into the hands of teachers? What do you think that's really going to do? That's not going to save anybody. How's that going to save somebody? Or do you think it will save somebody? You tell me. 513-873-7134. So that's what they're doing with House Bill 99. It's effectively reducing the training hours that teachers will need to be able to be legally concealed carrying a weapon in the classroom. And again, like I said, I know a lot of good teachers, but in general, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I don't trust anybody like that around our children. I don't trust it. And I have dealt with, since we have been here, I've seen one administrator lose it, just a historical emotional wreck, just lose it. Um, I've seen teachers lose it, just all out of character, like like you two people talking on the streets. I've had teachers admit that they had emotional things going on, and it was bringing it into the classroom and then projecting this onto children. Um, I don't trust it. I could never trust that. I could never trust it. And again, lots of good people, salty earth people, very intelligent people, the kind of people you want to have in your kids. Got a lot of people like that in CPS, but you got some that need emotional help. They need therapy, and they need serious, serious, serious training on implicit bias. Like race continues to be a hurdle. It continues to be a hurdle for CPS students. I can't see it. I can't see it. But I don't have that decision though, right? Some tells me if it passes through and gets to, so now what happens is both of these bills are going to go to the Ohio Senate, where the Republicans have a vast majority. And then if that passes, then um, if it gets to the Ohio Senate, then it'll go before your governor, and you got a suck MC Republican governor. You know that. Mike DeWine has no spine. Whatever the Republican majority and the business community tells him to do, that's what he's going to do. You already know that, right? So get ready for it. Let me go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nate. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Doing well,
This is
Deborah.
Deborah Nesbitt,
Deborah
the
Nesbitt.
voice
Good
of
morning, Deborah.
reason. How you doing? I had so much fun yesterday. It was so much fun. It was kind of crazy. It's kind of long. We didn't get out of there till after midnight, and it started at well, it was supposed to start at 7, but it didn't because there was so many people to get in and out. It was interesting protocols to get down from the Chappelle. So like, you had to go in, you had to show them your vaccination card, they matched it with your ID. And then, so at least you had to at least have your name on the card. I don't know how legit people's cards were. I don't know. And then they put your cell phone in these locked bags, and you weren't allowed to have your phone out for the whole show, which for me was kind of nerve wracking because I'm that parent. Like, I want to check on my kids, and then for pre-show, like I wanted to sit there and play spades on my phone or something, but you couldn't do any of that. It was just like focus on the show.
Now, how did that
And
work, Deborah? So
huh?
did you keep the phone in a pouch? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, they put the phone in the pouch, and you keep the pouch with you, and then they lock it, and then they unlock it as you leave.
Okay. Did they unlock it via Wi-Fi, or did somebody actually have to touch it and
No,
unlock
like
it?
it's like a physical person. Like you walk up to them as you're leaving out, and they just unlock up. They can unlock them both at
Oh,
the
okay.
same time.
Yeah, we decided to leave
Really?
our phones in the car, right?
Yeah,
And then we've got smartwatches, so we can still text and still make phone calls and things like that.
yeah. They were checking for that too.
Yeah, but they didn't check us.
Yes, anything that could like record, they was not with it, and they had security like going through the crowd. Like security came by us several times with like
Yeah.
flashlights or these little things checking for smartwatches and cell phones. And if you had one, they would have ejected you, I guess, like bye.
Yeah, but both of us had smartphones, and I thought about that. You can record audio on that. I could have recorded it, but I wouldn't do that. I mean,
Yeah.
you
It
know,
was I mean, it was like for me it's not even about I'm just addicted to my phone. I love my phone. Like, you know, I'm an American with a cell phone. Like it was hard. I was like, where is my phone? Like I didn't even know what time it was. I had to ask somebody else I can't think of the last time I owned or wore a watch. So I had to ask somebody else what time it was, and they were like, "It's after midnight." And I'm like, "Dang, we've been out here this long."
you're right.
Because we got there. The show started at 7. We got there at 6:30. It took us till after 7 to get in the venue, and but we still got there like before like it started up. They just had music playing, and then they had the DJ come out. He was doing stuff, and it was a good time. And then so the good part was um so we watched the whole documentary. Okay, whatever. Dave survived the pandemic, and it was great. He had a whole bunch of um, top notch comedians in Yellow Springs that I never got to see. I was jealous. Like you had all these people up here doing 70 shows. I never got to see any of them. Like Chris Tucker, Jon Stewart, Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish, Hannibal Buress. I mean, he had. I mean, everybody was up there, and like I didn't get to go to Yellow Springs and see any of them, but okay. So I'm like mad at you, Dave Chappelle. Thanks for showing me how you survived the pandemic with top-notch stellar comedians on your farm. And but he saved the town of Yellow Springs during the pandemic, I guess, because they raised a whole lot of money and the people were bringing their revenue in, and so that's great. He saved the rec center, electric. I don't know what was it, electric boogaloo too. So anyway, they did that. So they saved Yellow Springs, and then he finally comes out, but he doesn't really do a set. Like he talks a little bit, and then but he brought out a bunch of Ohio artists, like he's repping Ohio,
Yeah,
and it
you're
was like
breaking
I
up a little
want to
bit,
say
Deborah
oh
Nesbitt.
eight, huh?
You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh wait, because I be trying to sleep while I'm talking to you. So it'd be like OH, and then everyone would say IO or whatever. It took a while to get the hang of that, but we did it. It was a nice little chant. And then what else happened? Oh, so then he brings out all these artists afterwards. It was this Dayton rapper that nobody knew, but he was really good. But people were like Exodus because like who is this guy? And then the Exodus stopped because he brought out High Tech and Talib Kweli, which was like yay. And then he brought out Bone Thugs and Harmony. It was like yay. And then just because he didn't have Ish else better to do, he brings out Erica Badu, which was like wow. So and she took forever to get to the stage, and people was leaving again because I don't know. the goddess has to prep the arena for her aura or whatever. I don't know. It was interesting.
Right.
So Erica is Erica. She did her thing, but she is so. Oh my God, she's amazing. So that was the show. Man, we went across the bridge to Frisch's to get some Frisch's because everything on this side of the bridge was closed, but everything in Covington was open.
Yeah.
Then we went home. So I probably made it home about 1:30. It was a good show.
It was a good night.
And just as a bonus, because you didn't get to go, I got a mask for you and Mrs. Ivy because they was handing them out like water.
No, we did
So,
it. We got a chance to go.
oh, you did go.
Yeah,
See,
we
you
were
said
there.
you wasn't going yesterday. Well, then you got
Well,
your own
it
damn
came
mask, so
through
I'll
for
keep
me. I
mine.
mean, shout out to Sister Iris and Alandis Powell. It came
uh,
through. So we
uh,
decided to go. And we got there a little bit late because when we got there, the wifey had a bag and it's a long
yeah,
story.
you had to go back with your bag. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
couldn't take the bag in. But we had a good time though. I'm forever an optimist. So I mean, it was a good time. It was a good time.
Well,
And
what
we
I'm
got there
telling you about the show
later.
for, you know what happened.
Well, yeah. I just figured you want to say it in your own words. I'm here for it.
Nah, you said you wasn't going, so I was just calling to tell you what happened, but you
Yeah,
already know.
yeah. I
So
mentioned it
this
early
is
in the show.
redundant.
I mentioned it early in the show.
But I did have a good time. And I was up there shaking it with Bone Thugs and Harmony. It's the first of the month because that's my song.
So no comics performed because we got there a little bit later. We actually sat
No,
down.
it was this dude who looks. I don't know his name. It was one dude from the Daily Show. He's the Asian dude from the Daily Show.
Right.
And then there was this other white guy that probably everybody else knows, but I don't know because I don't keep up with the comedians. But he was pretty good. And then he came back out and insulted people, but it was funny. But he did it good naturedly, and it was cool. They volunteered for the effort. So, and then after that, they showed the documentary. So you probably didn't
Right.
miss much.
Right. And I had never seen that documentary. Is that something that had been circulating, or is that the first time people are seeing it?
Well, what had happened was I found this out because I was calling people last night at 1 o'clock in the morning, like I went to this film, and so I was talking to my ex, and he was like, "Hey," he was because we still cool. So he was like, "Yeah," he was the one who told me to go to the show in the first place. But what had happened was when Dave Chappelle did the whole thing with the closer or before the closer, and he was talking about trans people. And so I guess he had shot this documentary to all the film festival like Cannes and Sundance or whatever else. And because of the whole trans fallout, they abandoned his documentary. So he's like, fine, I'll just take it on the road, like make money with it, like or get it out there anyway. So I did end up watching the closer yesterday before I went to the thing because I want to know what all the fuss about. And I mean, it was interesting. Like, he's saying his basic thing is he wasn't punching down at trans people. It's just that he's pro-black and he wants to understand why black people don't get the same press that trans people get. Why it's not the same level of commitment to equality for black people that it is for pretty much everybody else, including And I'm like, I don't know. We can all chew. I don't know. We can walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. Like oppression is oppression, but I get it though. I'm pro-black too. I want to see much more progress for black people than even I don't know Joe Biden's willing to do. I like Joe Biden, but I don't think he gets it. But that's another ball game. So anyway, had a good time, and I'm glad you had a good time. And it was all right.
It was all right.
It was all right.
It was all right. Well, Deborah, thank you for your call.
I see you out here on the internet.
All right. I love her voice. She's got a very pleasant voice, especially when she's not mad at me. When she mad at me, oh my boy, she don't want to hear nothing a Negro got to say. She has a very pleasant voice. That's Deborah Nesbitt. Yeah, I was there. We had a good time. I mean, we wanted to see Dave, but for a Wednesday, like I said, we've been married, 21 years now. We got 2 children. One of them is 6. Any chance that we can be adults without children, we jumping on it, man. We is there. Let me say, I'm not feeling a teacher with limited training, especially with a classroom of children. I'm with you on that. I'm with that. I don't like it at all, yo. I really don't. And I'm not trying to in any way be funny. And I'm not playing no games when I say what I've said about CPS student and teachers. Some of the best people I've ever worked with is when I worked in youth development. These teachers working so hard, overtime, really caring, tears, going the extra mile. I mean, just the kind of people that you want to be around. Great people. And I've also seen the other side of that, as a parent dealing with my own children with CPS. And there's some few, it might just be one or two. And all it takes is for one teacher to crack up, spaz out. I don't know. I'm not here to criticize CPS. That's not my point this morning. I wonder what they're doing in terms of the emotional well-being for the teachers and administrators. I'm not even sure they have time to even worry about that stuff, but there's some work to do. Toy writes, clients testifying is always a gamble. But if you're a white male, it's becoming trendy. Rittenhouse testified in Al McMichael. Hashtag white male tears. I love Toy's comments. She on point. White male tears. I didn't mean to shoot him. I mean, we thought that he was a burglar. I mean, even if you watched him, again, I care about my block. Y'all already know I care about my neighborhood. I care, but you got to care about where you live. I'll pick up trash. I'm that dude. I'll pick up trash across the street. Um, we'll help our neighbors out just to make sure that our block it can be the best it can possibly be. And I will call the boys on you if you selling dog or any kind of other substances. Where my babies and my wife come to, we ain't having that. But I just can't see myself going on a posse because I see somebody leaving a construction site across the street. I just don't see it. It's just not that simple. I mean, it's just not that serious. It ain't that serious to me. If it had been a white man, the McMichaels never would have went on a posse like that. They might have stopped him and said something to him, but it wouldn't have been guns blazing. It never would have been that way. And maybe it was their racist belief that every black man is carrying a weapon. I wish Ahmaud Arbery had a weapon. I wish he had a weapon. He could have defended himself. Now that would have been a great other side of the story. But he did not. So Maurice writes, since when have you heard of the defendant handpicking his jury? I've never heard of it. I saw those images of Kyle Rittenhouse. But when I thought about it, it kind of made sense. He's the one on trial. You're supposed to get a jury of your peers, all that kind of stuff. And apparently it was done randomly. So he just kind of put his hand in there and took names out or probably took numbers out that corresponds to the name of a juror. And again, to me, Maurice, I've never seen it before. But if them doing that lessens the chance for him to get out on appeal, or let's say he's found guilty and he can appeal or something like that, then you gotta do what you gotta do. Ron P writes, no, it wasn't a robbery. It wasn't a robbery, no. I swear, Nate, some of these teachers are dangerous. They're dangerous in terms of how you perceive it as a parent. But I think that what I want to believe about these teachers, even when they have these explosive things, is that they're good people, but they're just having a moment of crisis. Teachers break down too. Administrators break down too. They're people. They got lives and children. Listen, my wife and I are we're some of the most understanding people that you're ever going to meet. Okay. I'm a very reasonable person, but you cannot BS me, one. And you really can't do that when you're dealing with my children. I'm just like you are, Nikki. I'm like anybody else. If you're just dealing with me, I'll take it. I'll take it if you're just dealing with me. But when my family gets involved, I can't afford to take that. I can't afford to let that pass. It means too much to me, right? It's too sensitive. And so that's what I believe. I mean, very good people. Everybody has a crisis moment. People break down. People get that COVID situation was terrible for a lot of people. People lost family members. They were stressed the hell out, you know, uh, and so they're going to take that back to their jobs. And then if you work with children, you're going to take it back to your job. And then implicit bias is real. Implicit bias is so real. You got some people out there that are great people, and they're operating with a lens of bias, and they can't see it. They just can't see it. They might be great people. They just can't see it. You got other people that know it. And I want to believe that's the minority. Like you got some people that know they got some problems along race and they don't care. But I want to believe that that is the minority as it relates to CPS. What I'd rather believe is that you got some folks out there that are walking around with implicit bias and they just are ignorant to it. Just like all of us have implicit bias. Now, that's what I choose to believe, Nikki. That's what I choose to believe. Now, is that true or not? I don't know. But that's what I want to believe. just because of my own experience. I've seen teachers go the extra mile, working an after school program, working a before school program. I mean, just doing all these things for our babies, coming out their own pockets, coming, doing stuff on the weekends, just going that extra mile. You know what I'm saying? And I can't not remember that when we talk about teachers. But let me go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. This is your West Side Connection, Drop Squad 52, also known as the Black, not Democrat. How you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing as well as one can be expected.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And a shout out to Deborah Nisbet. Boy, that girl be tripping me out. She laying in the bed, Mr. Ivy. She said she be catching up on her sleep while she listening to the Nathan Ivey Show. But, Mr. Ivy, a prelude to my my poll update on the president tomorrow. I was checking out to see if any polls came out today. And today, Mr. Ivy, the Quinnipiac University poll came out November 18th. And I'm just going to read you the headline on their webpage. Headline, More prefer Republicans to win control of the House and the Senate. Quinnipiac University national poll finds. Also, 68% of Americans say inflation and higher prices are changing spending habits. So again, Mr. Ivy, even after the national signing in the Rose Garden of the infrastructure bill, President Biden, according to this poll, he's not getting a bump. So I'm pretty sure tomorrow his average is going to probably be a little bit lower than what it was last week. So I don't know what the president and his administration is going to do, Mr. Ivy, to turn the ship, because I don't think just the fact that the president is going to these different battleground states and holding events like he did yesterday, it's like they're on a marketing campaign where they're trying to convince Americans that $5 a gallon gas out here in California and paying $4 for a dozen of eggs and almost $5 for a gallon of milk, somehow that this infrastructure bill is going to fix all that. So again, like I said, I don't know what they're going to do because they're getting ready to go on, the Congress is going on recess for Thanksgiving. So it just looks like his numbers just keep going worse and worse and worse. But I will give you the update tomorrow on the average of polls. And one last, two more things before I go. Have you ever heard of a progressive talk radio station out of LA called KBLA 1580?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. Because I discovered it last week, Mr. Ivy. And my man, Tavis Smiley, has a show from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Yeah.
And
it's
pretty good. No, it's owned by a multicultural conglomerate. Some Asian guy is the head of it. Because I looked it up because I thought maybe it was part of the other guy. I always forget his name. The media mogul that just had the big. Yeah, he just won that big case.
Right. You're talking about Byron Allen.
Yeah, Byron Allen. Yeah, I thought it was part of his network. But
what's the name
when I looked it up,
what's the call letters again of the station you're talking about?
KBLA 1580.
1580. Okay, I'll look them up. I am aware of them.
Yeah.
I thought it was a.
Yeah. And to be honest, Mr. Ivy, I listened to the lineup and everything. I'm telling you, sir, when I saw their lineup and the type of people that they have hosting their shows and listening to some of them, the first thing I said, this is the vision of the Nathan Ivey Sin Digital Media Network. Because I'm telling you, Mr. Ivy, the lineup, it's some of the same type of shows that you have on your network. But obviously, you don't have the dollars that this company has. But I see your vision, Mr. Ivy, and I'm telling you, sir, I think you're gonna reach your goal. Now, before I go, this is a question, and I want to take your answer off the air when I hang up. Do you notice any similarities in this Arbery murder case and the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman case, where in the Arbery case, you had a guy there with a video camera, and the white guys, the good old boys, they was, neighborhood patrol. George Zimmerman, neighborhood patrol. They both called law enforcement before they engaged the intruder in the neighborhood. I'm telling you, Mr. Ivey, listening to your show today, it clicked in. This is almost the exact same case as Zimmerman killing Trayvon Martin. So I just want you to, do you see any similarities?
Oh, yeah,
and that's all I got.
I definitely see similarities. Black man, unarmed, doing his own thing, minding his own business.
Right.
Non-black person looks at him suspicious and then confronts him and ends up killing him and then claims self-defense.
Right. And again, I'm pretty sure these smart people in the mainstream media also see the same dynamic, but strangely, they're talking about civil unrest in the white-on-white crime case with Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse, but they're not saying that they're preparing for unrest in Georgia in the Arbery case. I don't know what's going on, Mr. Ivey, because things ain't lining up right. It seems like you would have more civil unrest if the outcome in the Arbery case turns out like it did in the Zimmerman case, because it's almost identical. So if it's possible, it could happen. The jury could see that the same way. So why wouldn't they be prepared for, I don't know. I'm telling you, Mr. Ivey, the media is not doing their job. They need to be on stuff now like they were 4 years ago. So that's all I got. Thank you for taking the call, Mr. Ivey. Drop Squad 52, drop in science to anyone who wants to fact check it. I ain't heard from them fact checkers lately. Peace out, Mr. Ivey.
Peace out. Appreciate the call. That's dropping, as he says, science. I'm not so sure it is. You saw me flash this on the screen. I remind you again that our friends over at Renew Community Church, they do a live stream series. This week's topic, how to keep from losing your mind. Learn how to focus and be happy. You can tap in this Sunday at 11:45 a.m. You can do it on Facebook, facebook.com, Cincy Renew, or on YouTube, Renew Community Church live stream. All right. Also, let's get a word in from our friends over at Ohio State of Emergency. They're doing great work in terms of talking about the issue of trauma. And what I would suggest to you is that you go to their website and check it out for yourself. If you live in Ohio, or if this is something that is a topic that touches you in any way, go to their website, because you can get far more information there than I can describe to you. But check this out first.
Can't sleep.
It's hard to pay attention in school.
I say mean things.
I keep getting in trouble.
I bully other kids.
I'm just scared.
No one sees my pain.
Sometimes I want to die.
So many of our children are facing trauma, but instead of seeing their pain and fear, we're labeling them bad, troubled, delinquent, or criminal. Let's look beyond their behaviors. Let's get them the help they need by helping them address the trauma they're facing.
Help me feel safe.
See me for more than my behaviors.
Understand that my actions are how I communicate my fears.
For more information, visit www.ohiostateofemergency.com. That's ohiostateofemergency.com.
Okay, I don't see the light of day. Looking up to higher ground, thinking that'll be your sweet escape. These days gotta schedule the romance. They say that love is a slow dance. A short bike ride to the crib using no hands. Oh shit, it feel like I'm floating, but I'm falling with both eyes closed when I let the world spin. Testing the water, she got my nerves tense. Back when I ain't even have a purpose, I was so eager to learn some things. Anxiety bring out the worst in me. Society paint me as enemy. My niggas making it by that remedy. I'm more occasional, don't do it regularly. Backs under my eyes, weighing down heavily. Mama been worried, the devil allegedly deep in the plan. Subconsciously wanted it since I was 10. I thought I was sharp on my scroll and my pen think it did. So mama found shit at them legs. She told me that's not who I am. But nowadays I put on for the fam, see her when I can. I'm surrounded by my feelings, I'm stuck on a Ferris wheel. I bet I perish with 140 acres. She want the horse and the carriage, a porcelain portion of garbage. I talk to the mirror, I know that life's not the fairest. I lost my can, I can't pay off the bills with the blessing. I'm sure I relate to the Reddit page. It's feeling like money is everything. Money is everything. It's everything I need. Till I lay my eyes on you. I don't know what this is, yeah, but it feel like it's real, baby. I don't wanna pretend, no. I just wanna come clear, wanna see you again. I wanna see you again. I wanna see you again. Yeah, young nigga used to think this was everything I need, right? Not so fond of change, I'm too caught up in my way of thinking. I get by on me, no, I don't need nobody, yes. I was so naive, somehow I'm still all in on me, yeah. Way too many times I let the ball drop. Now I'm Steph Curry with the wrist flick, so they cold shoulders never defrost. No deal, but I pre-floss with the money tree in a deep pot. So I'm corner lanes with the rundown. Bitch, I'm all in the field with the cleats off. Everything that I wanted to reach, I had the
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Let's get back into this. I'll say it again. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Now, we got Brother Nadir backstage, but we're near the end of the show, so I'm going to try to see if I can hook up with him tomorrow. Can you hear me, Brother Nadir? I think something froze. Something froze. So I'm going to try to catch up with my guest tomorrow. You know, things happen. I totally understand it. He was having some technical difficulties getting to the show, but now here we are at the very end of the show. So hopefully it's just not going to be enough time. I need a good 45, I think, a good 30, 40 to really unpack his experiences in Ghana. So I want to catch up with him. I ran into him last night, so he was at the event. A lot of good people. A lot of good people I ran into. And some people I keep running into. You ever go somewhere and everywhere you go, you keep running to the same people over and over again? Damn it. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Let me see. Sister Iris in the house. She writes, "Good morning, great people. Thank you for the connect on the tickets to you and Alandis. I appreciate you both." Shannon writes, "They don't trust the principal's discernment with swatting, but they trust teachers with guns." Okie doke. Right. I would not be surprised if this passes and passes very, very soon. I would not be surprised about that. And I say that because look at what they're doing already with the Republicans that have the majority in the state house. I mean, we're talking about Republican or Democrats taking over in Cincinnati. When are the Republicans going to get the kind of challenge, a competition of political ideas? Right now, they run it on the state level. I imagine a brighter Ohio, and I don't think we get there with the Republican majority in the state legislature the way it is right now. That's just my opinion. I don't think so, but we have to wait and see. Maybe there's some other factors at play here. I don't know. But I would not be surprised that soon that you hear that the Senate votes for it, and then Governor Mike DeWine, who has no spine, votes for it as well. And they do away with the permit necessary for concealed and carry. And they also lessen the requirement for hours for teachers, the threshold for teachers training so they can have a gun in the school. I think it should remain where it is. You got to put in 748 hours, bro. Okay, you want to have a kid, a weapon around our children? This is what it's going to take. How serious are you? I mean, what's the big rush? And has there been any examples across the nation where there was like an active shooter situation and then a teacher having a weapon was able to thwart the situation or keep people's safety? safe. I don't know. I mean, I'm not hip to each and every gun violent at a school situation, but I'm wondering, does this mentality that a good person with a gun is how you deal with a bad person with a gun, is that the kind of mentality that we want in our schools with teachers? And don't we already have like security guards and resource officers and things like that in place? I think we do. I think we do. I don't think it's necessary. One more again before we roll out of here. How to keep from losing your mind. Learn how to focus and be happy. And that's the focus of the next live stream series brought to you by our friends over at Renew Community Church. Again, 11:45 a.m. every Sunday, or this Sunday. You can tap in on Facebook at Cincy Renew. So check out Edna Howe and Straight Talk up until 11, and then come back at 11:45 a.m. and you can find them as well. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Nathan.
Hey,
Nicole, can
TNT,
you hear
good
me?
morning to you.
Hey, everybody. So, a couple of things. We have a lot of great things on the topic board today. Was at the Dave Chappelle show. I said I was going to be there. Had some great seats, like literally looking onto the stage and on the front row where Dave Chappelle whole family was there. So I was with my cousin. We did get to meet his wife, and she was so nice. I was surprised she was shaking people's hands because of COVID and everything, but she was real pleasant. And the comedian that was up there, I don't know his name either, with the hat, was we was right there where they basically just walk up on stage. And I like to say that in the documentary, I knew they was going to come up with one. I didn't know if this was one specific because I know he was going to be working with John Crawford III. I thought this would be it, or maybe it was whatever, but he didn't really have a bigger part as I thought, so I'm not for sure. But the part with the man that was doing the poetry, that was so profound and powerful. I didn't have my phone or anything, but I wish I could have got his name because that man was profound. Like, I could hear that over and over and over again, what he said in that poetry. It was just like to your soul, concrete. He spoke everything that I think every Black person feel in just such a beautiful way. But I can't wait to hear that and see that again. Of course, the performances, which no one I don't know was expecting that. Bone Thugs and Harmony definitely was great, and I love Erykah Badu. I damn near lost my mind when I knew she was coming to the stage. It did take a while, but yeah, that was awesome. But I want to talk about the Ahmaud Arbery case, and Drop was just on the line and speaking of, and I ain't trying to dispute the brother or anything else, but in comparison with the George Zimmerman case, the difference is two things. One, there's a camera involved, and so the biggest problem with Trayvon Martin's case was that we only could rely on George Zimmerman's conclusion on what happened in those final minutes. And then the other component was in Florida, it's stand your ground law, which there's no duty to retreat. You can engage, start something with somebody, and it's just, was your life, do you feel like your life was in danger type situation? Whereas in Georgia, what matters right here is self-defense and the citizens arrest law that they have, And so what happened yesterday in court, they put the actual man that shot Ahmaud Arbery with the 12-gauge shotgun, and just bringing that type of weaponry to this situation where that type of gun blows holes in people. That's like 12 different bucks. They don't even use that gun on deers when they're hunting deers because it mess up the gang or whatever, it mess up the body. It's too many bullets. And he got shot not once, not twice, but 3 times. And when you're a citizen against the police, because the police, they have the charge to shoot to stop the threat, meaning to kill. But citizens, every time you shoot, you have to account for every single bullet. Why did you shoot that? Because if the first one was enough, which the first one did go through his hand, I believe. And that was, in his actions, I believe, to like push the gun away from him. He could have stopped there. You know what I mean? And the second time, the two other ones went in his chest area, and those was fatal. It was over. And so he has to account for that. He tried to come in there like, oh, I have this Coast Guard training, and we learned this, and he went through, like, he was the expert, on de-escalation and everything else. And I love the way the prosecution came back and was like, well, also in your training, aren't you told that people are not obligated to talk to you? So you out there in the field, just because you want to find something out, if someone refuses, you're not obligated to keep confronting them and trying to make them. He also had spoke of de-escalation, a de-escalation tactic that he was taught, where you use a gun, basically using a gun to make a person stop or whatever else. Never heard of that before. And but the whole point with the self-defense, you cannot start it. Once you initiate it, which is the same thing with the Cal Rittenhouse, which the jury, they're trying to look at that video where the prosecution is claiming he pointed the gun at the first gentleman he shot. And because he did that, he started the whole thing and everything else. And so everything else go out the window. He, in the Ahmaud Arbery, he admits that he pointed the gun. He's trying to say, like, this is part of his training and stuff. And I love the fact that, you got him on record saying that. So regardless of, what you thought, or you got into a fight and a tussle, and you felt like you was in for your life, like, you had every duty to prevent deadly force. Like, he didn't have to come out of his truck. They, like you said, you could have just followed the model. You felt so you felt like you just had to make sure that this wasn't the person. You ain't never have to get out your car. You got out of your car, you pulled out the gun. And so all these elements into you are creating a situation that doesn't end well. And it's just like the audacity to believe, if we take their logic as to him using his gun to make Ahmaud Arbery hold and wait or whatever, and not consider that kidnap. Well, how's that any different from a burglar, a robber with a gun and telling you, give me your money? You know what I'm saying? Like, just because they say they freeze or whatever, like, how are you any different from that type of criminal situation just because you want to ask someone questions and this person is not obligated to stop and speak to you? You know what I mean? And so today they're going to wrap up or continue the cross-examination of the son who actually killed them, and then it's going to go to the father. I think all three of them have three different attorneys. The one that's for the guy that took the video, his lawyer is crap. I mean, he's probably got the easiest case, which if anybody gets off, he probably should get off, but his lawyer is so tacky and just whack. Like, he's the one that's sitting up here saying, like, Reverend Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton shouldn't be in the courtroom because they're influencing the jury and everything else, and keep trying to make that motion to dismiss because we feel like the jury is tempered and being influenced by these high profile people sitting next to the mom. And so all he has to do in his case is to show that he's not connected to the McMichaels, the father and the son, that he had no intent to kill. He didn't come out with a gun. He actually just came out with his phone. He was away from the situation, and but they're trying to say, he used his truck to corner or help corner or whatever, which all leads into it. You know what I mean? And to me, he can go right with him, but I just think that the second lawyer, he did a better job for the defense, but at the same time, I think he hung himself in some of the words he said, and you just got to watch the prosecutor in that she is awesome. She is not giving anything away on this case. But the difference with the George Zimmerman and Ahmaud Arbery, the law stand your ground versus self-defense, and the citizen's arrest. It's different components. Plus, we have a video. We can see in the final moments what happened, kind of, sort of. But the son already admitted that he pointed the gun. You know what I mean? And so right there is the whole situation is falling apart, at least from my understanding. But we just got to hear more, see more what's happening. But in that the House Bill 99 is ridiculous. We was out there trying to inform people about that, and we do need to call these lawmakers and email them and press upon them, even though they're probably going to go and do what they're going to do. But still, we need to put it on record. You need to put your voice on record, on file. The NAACP is working on our website right now where it's going to be more interactive. That way, people can just, plug in their name and we'll automatically shoot emails and letters to these different officials and kind of have call to actions that's more organized that you see with other, major organizations. And but on our local level, we're trying to build that up too, so we can just get a collective drive. And at the last resort, if it does reach the governor, we all need to hit Governor DeWine and press upon him that he does not sign this bill. You know what I mean? We hope it don't get to that part, but the fight is not over. I think it's absolutely asinine to put guns in teachers' hands, not just because of just the amount of inadequate training, but to have guns, and it's supposed to be a safe zone for kids. And if a situation came up or happened like that, they're doing training already on how to handle those situations. But if someone come in with AK-47 or whatever, they could shoot up the place in a few seconds. It's half the time it ain't much a person can do. And that's what we got the resource officers and the police for. And in a chaotic situation like that, bullets have no name on it. So why, you have this 20-hour, 15-hour training teacher, trying to be a hero. You don't know if the police is coming down the hallway or whatever. You can accidentally shoot a student. You can be perceived as the threat and get shot yourself. I think it's just so astronomically stupid to enforce something like this. But clearly we're being ran by a nation of fools. And the gerrymandering and how things is, we got to get that all in order to get better numbers on the state level. It's just a lot of work to do. So I ain't gonna talk y'all ear off. Thanks, brother. Talk to you later.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
As always, that's TNT checking in. She got a lot to say about what's going on. I appreciate it. She's watching. I could tell she's watching that court case very, very quick, very, very closely. And it sounds like more closely than I am. But like I said, I'll take it from the top. I stand by what I said. I think that the lesson from Ahmaud Arbery or any of these national cases, these cases that are high profile, is to ask yourself, what if it happened where you live? And then what would be the response? What's necessary? What's needed? Like, is there a policy that should be put in place? Well, then don't wait until the tragedy happens where you live at and then you're caught lacking. And maybe that could be a focal point, in terms of working with your local reps and the people that are on your council or county executives or whoever. Don't wait. If you've seen it happening somewhere else, it's going to happen. It's a potential for it to happen where you live. That's how I look at it. Let me see here. Back to your comments real quick. His science is wacky. Okay. I feel you on that. That is TNT. That's TNT. Brenda writes, McMichael had the tools of East Coast of Coast Guard and Law Enforcement Academy training. Ahmaud should not be deceased. Deborah writes, I'm glad she's watching and I'm grateful for the updates. I try to watch it and it just hurts. Yeah, I'm grateful for the updates as well, so I appreciate it. Yeah, Brent is hilarious. Hey, listen, folks, I really appreciate you. I'll be back and hopefully better than ever tomorrow morning. We'll end the week with a really big bang. I reached out to Brother Nadir. He's actually backstage still, but we're going to reschedule. I just don't have enough time to have the conversation I want in mind. And I'm going to try to catch up with Miss Ebony J as well. Things happen. I totally understand. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. Don't forget you can tap in this Sunday. How to keep from losing your mind. Learn how to focus and be happy. Check out the live stream brought to you by our friends over at Renew Community Church. On Facebook, you can watch it Cincy Renew, CINCI. And on YouTube, you can watch at Renew Community Church live stream. All right. Have an excellent day, family. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning. We'll chop it up on everything that's going on. Remember our motto: winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. Stay focused, stay winning, and we'll talk real soon. Until next time, I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.